Uh, so we are going to start our today's class. Without further delay, let us start. Other people may join later on. But what I'll say is that try to maintain your time. You should be ready with your connections and all. Okay. So as soon as I give the link, immediately you will start joining. Okay. Uh, we are discussing the nuclear overhauser effect and its application, and we have in the last class what we tried to understand how the enhancement occurs in terms of peak intensity in 13C, and we have seen the two-dimensional NMR based on nuclear overhauser effect. We call it as 2D NOESY, right? I hope all of you have gone through the discussion before attending this class. In the last class, I gave few problems. Okay, only 3 problems I gave. I find like maybe many people have tried, but the answer what I have received only from 3 students out of 52. So that tells how much sincere you are. Okay, that is your decision. What you'll do, you'll do. I have nothing to tell. You're grown enough. You're matured enough. So your future is in your hand. What I can tell is you have to be much more sincere. But anyway, let us discuss the problem at the beginning, and then we'll move to some new lessons. Okay. So if you go to the problem number 1, okay, so there you'll find that one structure has been given and the corresponding NOESY spectra is provided. Okay, you are asked to find out the correct stereochemistry of the compound. Now, when I am telling the correct stereochemistry of the compound, you have to immediately find out that what is the center you have there. You can have the stereochemistry based on that center. Okay. Now, if I look at the structure here, what is given, your stereochemistry at the center, this is already fixed. Okay, so you cannot change the stereochemistry here. You understood? You have benzyl group here. You have one hydrogen. Okay, number of hydrogen. This hydrogen number has been given. This is the hydrogen number 5. Okay. You have among their different centers. You have only this center, which is sp3. So you can have stereochemistry here. Okay, and if you look at the substituents around that particular carbon, so all are different. That means you can have stereochemistry of this carbon. Now here the stereochemistry is not mentioned. Okay, you look at the zigzag bond, it means it can be up, it can be down. Now based on this NOESY spectrum, you have to find out what should be your actual structure. Okay, now if you look at the answer, okay, so your hydrogen, the hydrogen 2, okay, at this center it can be up, it can be down. Okay, and that's why you can have 2 structures. So the structures are here. You can have, in one case compound 1, you can have hydrogen down, and in another case compound in case compound A, you have hydrogen down here, H2, and compound B, you have hydrogen number 2, which is up. Okay. Now you have to find out between these two structures, which one is the correct structure. Okay. If you look at the question here, relative stability, draw the relative stability of the compound based on synergy. Means which one will be the correct stereochemistry. Okay. If you look carefully, you will find that in the Noji spectrum, you have two types of spots, right? In the last class, I told you should have diagonal spot and you should have off diagonal spot. The diagonal spot comes from the same proton, okay? If you consider from both the axes. And off diagonal spots, they will be generated based on the protons which can interact in space. Okay, they are not connected directly, but they are closer enough to each other to have the spatial interaction. Okay, and that we know that in NMR that we find as you have the enhancement due to the polarization transfer if the two nuclei they are closer enough. Now in this particular case, you have, it's already mentioned here, you don't need to bother which of the hydrogens are interacting. You have sorry, here my lines have been shifted, but anyway, if you look at the off diagonal spot, you have the spot here. The H2 that is giving a spot which is from H5. So this is H5, right? So that means H2 and H5, they are interacting. So this is H2. Similarly, you can, if you go this direction, you will find H2 and H5, they are interacting. Now, when the H2 and H5, they will interact if they are closer enough in the space. Okay. Now, between these two molecules, if you look at, okay, as I told, like you have the interaction through the space if they are in the shortest distance. Now, in this case, for compound A, you find the H2 and H5, they are in the same direction. They are in the backward side, okay, in the back. Whereas in compound B, the H5 and H2, they are opposite direction. So which direction do you think to be closer? If they are in the same side, right? So you have these two sides, they are in the same direction. Whereas these two sides, they are opposite direction. Their distance will be more. Okay. So that case, you will not have any spatial interaction. There will not be any interaction through space. Okay. And you can clearly understand between these two, definitely the structure A, which will fit for the Noji given here. So the correct structure will be compound A. This is the compound. Do you have any difficulties to understand here? No, right? Anybody has any question here? No. Let me move to the second problem. Now, in second problem, if you look at a number of compounds are given here. A particular 1H NMR is provided, and you have the corresponding noji. Okay, you have to find out which is the correct structure here. Now we can take this is as 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, you have 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, these are the compounds. Now if you go for the solving of this problem, you have to carefully notice the proton NMR first. Okay, and by looking at proton NMR, you can eliminate many of these compounds. Okay, then you can move to NOSI to find out which one will be the correct structure based on the selected compounds. Okay, so let us first look at the proton NMR. If you look at the proton NMR, which is expanded here, you can see in the NOSI in any one axis. Okay, let us look at the y-axis. So this is the proton NMR, right? What we find here is that you have the proton peaks are surrounding near about 8, okay, a little bit less and a little bit higher, and you have another proton which is around near about closer to 10, or we can take it as this is 9, so this is 9.5 nearby, and another proton is above 1. Okay, so this is the situation of your proton NMR. Where you find is you have, this is a doublet. Okay, this is a doublet, you have another doublet here, you have another doublet, you have another doublet. So you have 4 doublet, 1 singlet here, and you have another singlet here. Now if you look at the molecule, what you find is that there are 2 electron withdrawing group, not 2, you have 3 electron withdrawing group. So the molecule is highly electron deficient. Okay, that means whatever regular proton chemical shift expecting, for this particular molecule, the chemical shift value will be a bit a higher region, because you have the molecule is having 3 electron withdrawing groups. Okay, you have fluoro here, you have aldehyde group here, you have cyano here. So that's why what we see is that the regular values what we get for like aldehyde or aromatic protons, they are quite high in this region. Okay, if I look at I just tell you the aldehyde proton, you have the singlet here, aldehydic proton, which is around 10.4 or 5. Okay, nearby 10.5. But in regular, what we get is around 9.8. Okay, so you have a like 0.6, 0.7 shifting. Okay, and that will be we'll get for all the other protons. So your aromatic protons are also shifting. So in the aromatic region, what you find is that you have 4 doublet, 1 singlet. If you consider only this information, 4 doublet, 1 singlet in the aromatic region, and your aldehyde will be definitely 1 singlet, you can exclude many of them. Okay, and if you look at what we find is that among these different molecules, you have the molecule 1, 3, and 10 that will be quite matching with this pattern. Okay, 4 doublet, 1 singlet in the aromatic proton, and 1 in the 1 singlet in the aldehydic proton. I think that you can easily understand how it will be. I'll just explain with the compound 2, which is not fitting to the NMR, proton NMR. How it will be? Say suppose compound 2, you have this proton, you have this proton, you have this, this and this proton. What will be the splitting pattern of this proton and this proton? You have these two protons, they are ortho to each other, okay, in this particular ring. So you can expect a doublet here. This will be a doublet, right? But if you look at the another ring, you have three protons, they are side by side. So what you will expect for this particular proton which is near about the cyano group, that will be a doublet due to the nearby proton present here. You have the proton which is para to cyano group, that will also be doublet because you have another proton nearby here. Okay, but what will be the situation for the middle one? The middle one will be doublet of doublet. Okay, so that you have a multiplet type of spectrum. And if your two orthocoupling J value are same, okay, what do you expect will be, they will behave as a triplet. So either you will see as triplet or you will see as DD, okay, or you will see a DD, triplet or DD in the middle proton, okay. So now if you look at the proton NMR, what you find in the proton NMR, you have 4 doublet, 1 singlet in the aromatic, but here in this case you have 4 doublet and 1 triplet or DD. Okay, so that cannot be the structure. So in this way you can apply other by yourself and try to track whether they are fitting or not. Here I am giving the 3 possible structures which have the proton NMR quite matching. Okay, so you have compound 1, 3 and 10. Now if you look at compound 1, 3 and 10, what you find is that you have the aromatic proton here which is singlet, you have nearby proton here which is coming from nearby aromatic ring. Okay, so that proton is a doublet and these two are nearby, so you have the interaction, spatial interaction through space. Okay, so you can have a nosy here. Look at the other two proton at the bottom. So you have this proton at the para to aldehyde group and the ortho to cyano group, that two are again closer to each other, that to have a nosy. Okay, the para to ortho para to aldehyde group, that proton will be a doublet, and ortho to cyano group here which is closer to the para to aldehyde, that proton. So this is a singlet. Okay, so what we find it here, aromatic proton doublet is interacting with a singlet aldehyde proton in one case. In another case you have aromatic proton singlet is interacting with aromatic proton doublet. Okay, so you have two nosy, two separate peaks you will see in the off diagonal spots. So total off diagonal spots will be 4. If you look at compound 3, you have these two protons, okay, which are one of is ortho to aldehyde and meta to cyano group. That two protons individually will be doublet because they are ortho to, they have ortho protons individually. They have the ortho protons here and here, so they will be doublet. So in this case you have a nosy, but the nosy will be between two doublets. In the upper case you have two singlet nosy. Okay, one is from aldehyde, another is from ortho to cyano group, that protons. So you have two singlet interactions. Okay, and the for 10 you have again two doublet nosy, I mean two protons which are doublet, they are interacting for nosy, and you have no other interaction. okay, for nosy. If this proton, aldehyde proton is from this side, okay, if I keep double bond O here and put aldehyde this side, then you can have a nosy from the aldehyde group and a doublet proton, okay. Now you can understand, you have, if you look at the nosy spectra, what we find here is, you have aldehydic proton, okay, and that aldehydic proton is interacting with a doublet of the aromatic proton, okay, through space. So that spot is one of the spot, and that contemporary spot another spot, which is this one. This is the same thing. So you have a singlet doublet interaction, aldehyde aromatic. Look at the others. Look at the other spot. In other case, what we find here, you have a off diagonal spot. In this case, you have aromatic singlet is interacting with the aromatic doublet, okay, and same you have here also. Aromatic singlet is interacting with a aromatic doublet, okay. So that fashion is matching with the compound 1 only. So 4 off diagonal spots, 2 of them are upper region, 2 of them in the lower region. The upper side, 1 aromatic singlet proton is interacting to 1 aromatic doublet proton, whereas in lower side you have 1 aromatic doublet is interacting with the aldehydic singlet, okay. So your actual compound among these 1, 3 and 10 will be the compound structure 1, okay. So this is the correct one. Hope you have understood this one. If you have any queries, you note it down, you can ask me. Question 3 is the most easiest one, and the half part I have already discussed in the last class, okay. Acetanilide has 2 different conformers, they are not interconvertible, okay. So you can distinguish them through NMR study. Now explain why there is no free rotation in around the amide bond. Second question is, you need to show the nosy relation with double-headed arrow. And third one is, you have to draw the nosy spectra of the 2 different conformer. Now, if I look at the question 1, so you have 2 conformer here given, so it is 1 and 2, and you have lone pair on the nitrogen, so you can have this structure, okay. And for this second case also you have similar. Now that 2 rotation is not possible, because when you have this double bond, there is no rotation possible. Now if you have these 2 conformer, you can clearly see they are not identical, okay. They are completely different because they have different proton environment. Apparently it may look that you have the single bond, so they can rotate to have this conversion is possible, okay. But actually in the solution they remain in these 2 form, and that can be easily identified by proton NMR study or the nosy study also, okay. So where will be the interactions, special interactions? You can see here proton, you have here proton, so that 2 protons are closer enough, and you can tell also this proton and this carbon, they are closer enough, okay. You can have proton proton or proton carbon, both. So you can do nosy in terms of proton, you can do nosy in terms of carbon, okay. So generally we do 2D nosy 1H, 1H, okay, to look at how the protons are interacting. In the compound 2, you have these two protons, one aromatic proton and you have this methyl proton. So that two are interacting. So nosy for compound 1, what will be? You have these two interactions. So where you will get the off diagonal spot, where you have the proton from nitrogen and proton from methyl group, okay, they are interacting. So you have to take the proton from nitrogen in x-axis, and at the same time you have to consider the proton from methyl group at the y-axis. So if you do that one, you are getting this spot. Okay, so these are not connected, but they are closer enough to have nosy spot. Okay, off diagonal spot. And similarly, you can just do the reverse. Take the proton from methyl group from the x-axis and take the NH proton from the y-axis, and you will get another off diagonal spot here. So that two spots will be from the special interactions. So this is the nosy spots. Now you have to show also the diagonal spots, and diagonal spots will be always the same interaction, same proton interaction. So you have this NH, you have this NH. So that will give one spot here. Similarly, you can have methyl and methyl from both the axes, you will have this spot. And other spots are the aromatic proton spots. Okay, so you'll have these diagonal spots. So this is the nosy of this conformer. Okay. For the second compound, you have this aromatic proton and the methyl proton. They are interacting. Okay, through space. So you will have the common spot, the diagonal region. Now methyl you can easily track out. So this is the methyl in the x-axis. Now this is interacting with the orthoproton, right? Now orthoproton, that one is a doublet which is away, which is the furthest one. Its chemical shift should be the highest one among the aromatic protons because we have the electron withdrawing group. Okay, if you look at the conformer, you have a positive charge generation on the nitrogen. That means this proton will be the most de-shielded. Okay, so you have this proton value will be the highest one. So that means the doublet at the end, okay, you have three different spots. Doublet at the end in the aromatic region will be the peak for this orthoproton. Okay, now that one you take it as you have to consider from suppose y-axis. So this is y-axis. So y-axis and y-axis aromatic proton, orthoproton, and x-axis methyl proton. So they will give the off diagonal spot here. And if you do the reverse, you will get another off diagonal spot here. So that too indicates that you have the interaction between these two. And other, as usual, you have diagonal spots from the same proton. Okay, so these two will be your nosy of the two different isomers. Now in today's new topic, what we'll be discussing is, yes, if you have any question.
Sir, please explain the nosy spectrum again.
Okay, in nosy spectrum, what you have to look at is there will be two types of spots. One is diagonal spot, another is off diagonal spot. What you have to do, you have to place the proton NMR, okay, in two axes. So here we have kept one proton NMR, here we have kept the same proton NMR. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis. Now in the spectrum, what you get, the diagonal spots that will be generated from the same proton interactions from the same, both axes. Say suppose this methyl proton from X. So you have a diagonal spot generated due to methyl will be the common region from the both axes of the methyl. So here you have methyl, here you have methyl, right? So in x-axis the methyl here, y-axis the methyl here. So if you extrapolate, where they will meet, you will have a spot. That spot we call it the diagonal spot due to methyl. So if you just extrapolate this one, it is coming here. If you start from there, it is coming here. So they are matching here, meeting here, right? So this spot is the diagonal spot due to methyl. So you will have the similar other spots, diagonal spot here. This is the aromatic proton, and this is the NH proton. Okay, so these are diagonal spots. Now in NOESY, what you know that the protons which are closer enough but not connected through the bond, that two protons will be interacting. Okay, and in NOESY spectrum that will be reflected by off diagonal spot. Now in compound 2, you have an orthoproton here and you have the methylic proton, right? So these two protons, they are closer in space, so they will be interacting. So you will have a common spot from them. How to get the spot? What you have to do, you have to take the methyl here. So you have to find out where is the methyl in x-axis and where is the aromatic orthoproton in y-axis. So that two will be interacting to give one off diagonal spot. So here you have the methyl from x-axis and here you have aromatic orthoproton from y-axis. So if you just extrapolate that two, where they will meet, you will have the off diagonal spot. Similarly, you can do the reverse. You take the aromatic proton, orthoproton from x-axis and methylic proton from y-axis, and that too you extrapolate, and where they will meet, you will have another off diagonal spot. Okay, so that too will tell you have orthoproton and methylic proton. That two spots will tell the orthoproton and methylic proton, they are interacting, means they are closer. So from this you can get here, and from here you can develop this NOESY spectrum. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us move to a new lesson, that is distortionless enhancement by polarization transfer. Okay, so we call it the DEPT. Name is very big. It will be maybe due to this name, maybe people will get frightened. Okay, or what is that thing? It is really a very tough thing to do. In DEPT, the mechanisms are really difficult to understand. But what is important is its application is more important, and the analysis of the spectrum is very easy. Okay, so I'm not going to the mechanism, how the things work. What our interest is, how to apply this technique to identify different carbon, okay, of a molecule. So just I'm giving a little information that DEPT 13C spectrum is a simple and easy to interpret. Okay, so the spectrum you can easily interpret it. Now in this technique, what is done is the multi-pulse sequences utilized, okay, to have different type of signaling. Okay, so your resonance display, sometimes you'll get in the positive direction, sometimes you'll get in the negative directions. Okay, and that will be depending upon how many numbers of protons are attached to that particular carbon. Okay, so this technique we utilize to predict or to identify the exact carbon in the spectrum. Okay, which carbon is which one? In regular 13C, the proton decoupled broadband 13C, that there we don't actually always be able to identify which carbon is for which particular signal. Okay, so people have developed, manipulated the technology in such a way that they can monitor the carbon properly. Okay, so here I told one thing is that multi-pulse sequences, and your pulse that depends on the angle. Okay, at what angle you are allowing to give the irradiation. Okay, that is one of the important part here. Now, in a simplest way, I'll tell you there are three types of DEPT spectrum or technique. You have DEPT 45. In DEPT 45, what you will see is the carbon which are attached to proton, that will be reflected. Okay, so if you have a carbon and that carbon is attached with proton 1H, that carbon will be shown in the spectrum. Okay, now if we try to analyze carbon attached with proton, means you have three types of carbons now. You have CH in the molecule may be there, you can have CH2, you can have CH3. But remember here, what you will not get in DEPT 45, carbon don't have any proton. Okay, only carbon, there is no proton attachment, that carbon will be missing in the spectrum. And the second case, we call the pulse 90 degree. Here the pulse is 45 degree. Okay, when the pulse is given to 90 degree, what we see is that only the CH proton will be reflected in the positive direction. There will be no other carbon. So we cannot see the CH2, CH3 and C. Okay, that will not be seen in DEPT 90. In DEPT 135, what we will find is you will have the odd number of protons connection, that carbon will be reflected. So CH and CH3 will be seen in the positive direction, and the even number of proton connection will be seen in the negative direction, so negative phase. So CH2 will be seen in the negative phase. What does it mean by positive and negative phase? If you have C13 NMR, what we see generally, the peak in the upward direction, right? So suppose this is methyl peak, methyl carbon. If you have a molecule having CH2, the CH2 will be seen like this, okay, in the opposite phase. Got it? So this is, we call it the regular phase or the positive phase. This one is opposite direction, we call it negative phase. Okay, so DEPT 45 and 35, they will reflect the carbon with all the carbons which are connected with the protons. The differences are, in DEPT 45 you have the positive phase. Okay, all the carbon will be seen in the positive direction. In DEPT 35, you will have only the methyl proton and the CH proton will be in the positive direction, whereas the CH2 proton will be in the negative direction. DEPT 90 is completely different. You will have exclusively CH proton. None of this DEPT technology will show the carbon don't attached with any proton. Okay. Now, when you do the analysis, this 3 DEPT along with the proton decoupled regular spectrum, okay, 13C, if you consider, you can easily track out which carbon is for which one. Okay, you got this point clear? So this thing you have to, yeah, so this is not too difficult, just to, you have to remember, okay? Now, let me take one example and explain this one, okay? And I'll give the problems to solve. You have to solve the problem, and next class we'll try to see what is the answer of that problem, okay? Now, let us take one molecule. So this is a big molecule. You have methyl proton. So you have methyl here, here, here. Okay, you have CH2. This is CH2, CH2. Okay, and you have CH. Okay, and you have only carbon. So the molecule, you have variety types of carbon here. Can anybody quickly tell how many signal you will be looking in its proton decoupled 13C spectrum? Quickly tell how many signal you are going to get in proton decoupled 13C.
Six signals, sir.
Correct. So you have 6 signals. Okay. These two methyl, they are identical. So you will have one. This methyl, you have another, right? So two, you have two CH2. They are different. So you have another 2 connections. So you have 4, 1 CH5 and 1 carbonyl carbon, 6. So you will have 6 peaks. Okay. Now let us look at the proton decoupled 13C. So these are the 6 peaks you can see. You have here, okay, if I just mark as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? Now in proton decoupled spectrum, what you are getting also the solvent peak CDCl3, right? And you have TMS, right? Trimethyl tetramethylsilane. There you have the carbon. So, right? So you can have, these are the different spots, okay? Different peaks in DPT, in proton decoupled 13C, okay? Now, when you will do the DPT 45, what you will expect? We'll expect this one. Can anybody quickly tell what are the differences here, these two? What are the peaks mixing here? Complete difference between these two spectrum. Let me see who can track. What are the peaks missing here?
Carbonyl carbon is not showing, sir.
Any other peak you are not seeing? So one is this one, if you are not able to see. What else you are not getting here? What is missing here? Any other?
Sir, TMS?
Solvent peak also.
TMS is here. You have TMS. Okay. You are missing the CDCl3.
Yes, sir.
CDCl3. CDCl3, you don't have any proton, right? So that's why it is missing. Okay. But tetramethylsilane, you have methyl proton, right? So that's why you are able to see this peak. Are you getting? So this is your DPT 45. It reflects the CH, CH2, and CH3 protons, the carbon which are having this type of protons. Okay. Now, from these two, and just if you compare these two, you can quickly tell this is definitely the carbonyl carbon peak, right? If people don't know also where the carbonyl carbon generally comes, okay, they can easily tell, okay, this is the carbonyl carbon which is missing here. That means that is the carbonyl carbon peak. Are you getting? If you don't know the value also, where it should come. Let me tell how the 90 will be looking at. Okay, so 90, you are, how many peaks you are getting in 90? DPT 90, you have only one peak here. Any other you are getting? No. Even the silane is missing here. We look at, so no CdCl3 means no solvent, no silane peak. Silane you have methyl, that's why it is missing here. What is the job of DPT 90? It will show only CH carbon. Okay, so you are getting here. So you can tell easily which carbon is the CH carbon. Okay, from this value. I will summarize at the end.
Carbon.
Yeah, tell what is your question? The carbon, you can get the value from here. You have the scale here, right? So this is 25. Okay. So you have this value is 25. So from the scale you can get individual carbon peak. That I'll give the table from the scale, so that will be easier to understand. DPT 135. What you are getting? You see the silane peak is it has come back. Okay, which was missing in 90. It has come back. What you see here is you have two negative phase peaking, okay, peaks, and 3 positive phase peak. Okay, you have peaks, 3 of them are positive, 2 of them are negative. Okay, 135, what is its job? It shows all the carbon having proton attachment. The odd will be positive, even will be negative. So that means these 3 are odd, CH3 and CH. These 2 definitely CH2 carbon. Okay. Now let us have the analysis. So proton decoupled 13C, you will have all of the carbon is appearing, 20, 22, 25, 37. I'm increasing order, I'm giving C1 to C6, 20, 22, 30, 25, 37, 62, 172. Now when you place the DPT 45, which will show the CH, CH2 and CH3, you are getting the peaks. These are the peaks. So this is missing. Okay. So that means in the molecule you have this one, which is not having any hydrogen attachment. So that definitely will be that one. In DPT 90, what you are getting only this 25 ppm C3. You are getting the peak. So DPT 95, it shows the CH. So that means C25, that is CH. Okay. In DPT 135, you are getting 5 peaks that are coming from CH, CH2, CH3 again, but you have these 2, 37 and 62, that 2 are opposite. Okay, so that means that 2 will be CH2. Now from this 4 different spectrum, individual spectrum, if you keep side by side, you can easily tell the C6 definitely will be C double bond O, that carbon, which is having 172 ppm value. C3 25, that will be CH. Okay. C4 and C5 opposite phase, so that 2 will be CH2. Okay. 37 and 62. You have C1 and C2, that will be 20 and 22. Okay, that will be definitely methyl. Okay, so this 2 is, there will be CH2, this is CH. Okay, and this one is C double bond O. Okay, so this is, you can easily tell what will be the methyl proton, I mean methyl carbon where will be the CH2, where will be CH, and where is the C double bond O. You can find out. Now your only job remaining is exactly which carbon between these two methyl, which one is for these two and which one is for this one. Okay, between these two CH2, okay, which one will be for this one and which one will be for this one. That you can easily tell. Let me tell you from the value. See, 62, it is this one will be 62. It is very easy. It is connected with the oxygen. Okay, so that will be higher. 37 will be this one. Getting? Now only confusion will be in case of methyl. So methyl, you have 6 here proton, 2 methyl, here 1 methyl. If you go to the spectrum, you can tell which one is what. Look at the methyl. Let me go to the spectrum. Okay. So what we get is 20 and 22 that are for methyl. Now you tell me which one is for what. That I want to listen from you. This is 20, this is 22. So which one will be for what? Can anybody tell? You have 2 methyl peak here. Okay. This is decoupled spectrum. 2 methyl here, 2 different types of methyl. One is 20, another is 22. You have these two are same methyl, this is different methyl. Okay. So which one is for what? Can anybody quickly tell?
Sir, 22 is for the methyl attached with carbonyl, and the 20 is the 2 methyl here.
No, you are you are getting. See, if you have two methyl means what? 2 carbon. So that should be relatively more height. You should have. Yes or no? And you know already the NOSI is already done. Nuclear Oberhauser effect. How many hydrogens are attached with these 2 carbons? 6 hydrogen. And here how many hydrogen? 3 hydrogen. So where the hydrogen number is more, that peak height will be more. There you will see more nuclear Oberhauser effect. Okay.
Yes.
So in
Yes,
this
sir.
case, the 20, this is the C, which is at carbonyl carbon attachment. Okay, that methyl is 20, less value, and the methyl which are not having carbonyl carbon attachment away from, that is giving higher value. Okay, so you have 2 methyl here. Now maybe the questions is coming to your mind, why this you have the carbonyl carbon nearby, why the value is low and why this value is high, right?
Yes, sir.
So that can be explained. You have this lone pair. What happens is this negative charge development. Okay, due to this negative charge development, this methyl, okay, it faces the additive shielding effect. Okay, more electron density here for additive shielding effect. Okay, and that gives a little bit lower value. Okay, so that's why you see these two are very close enough, 20 and 22. Okay, are you getting? So this is the situation. I hope everybody has understood this DEPT part. We'll be using this DEPT for analyzing the different problems. Okay, when we'll be facing, we'll be discussing in our last unit. Okay, so what I'll tell you, you go through properly. Okay, try to understand and solve the problem. I gave only one problem. Hope you can solve this one. So I'll show the problem here. What is given here? You have a formula here. You have 13C, decoupled 13C values and their signaling situation given. Okay, as well as the DEPT, and the proton NMR is given. What you have to do, you have to find out the structure of the compound. Okay, so this is the problem given. You have to solve this one. Okay, so I'm stopping here. We'll meet in the next class. Okay, so thank you for attending today's class.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.